welcome to VOA's Red Carpet. I'm your host, Jackson Vunganyi, with the latest in celebrity news and fashion, sports, film, television from around the world. Let's begin. And from African king to African samurai, Chadwick Boseman is taking a detour from Wakanda to play a true-life role of Japan's first African warrior. Boseman will play as Yasuke, a Mozambican slave who was taken to Japan by Jesuit missionaries in the 16th century and learned how to fight as a samurai for a Japanese warlord. The magazine Deadline reports that the film is being written by Doug Miro, who co-wrote or co-created the Netflix series Narcos. In a statement, Boseman said that the legend of Yasuke is one of the history's best-kept secrets, the only person of non-Asian origin to become a samurai. And that is not just an action movie, it's a cultural event, an exchange, and I'm excited to be part of it, he said. Rihanna's Fenty brand is partnering with the luxury conglomerate behind Givenchy and Dior to launch a collection of high-end jewelry, shoes, sunglasses, and ready-to-wear clothing. This deal makes Rihanna the first black woman to lead a luxury label at LVMH, building on a proven market success of Fenty Beauty, her sportswear collection collaboration with Puma, and her racy lingerie line Savage X Fenty. Rihanna says that the deal allows her a unique opportunity to develop a fashion house in the luxury sector with no artistic limitations. We can't wait to see what Rihanna cooks up, especially that she has expressed interest in African fashion. And there's another powerhouse female performer blending music and fashion. That's Cardi B. She recently released her second collection with Fashion Nova at a star-studded concert and party, live-streamed from the Hollywood Palladium. The Grammy Award-winning rapper launched her 107-piece collection in performances with Blueface, YG, and Young Miami of the City Girls. And TMZ reports that Cardi B's Season 2 collection topped $1 million in sales within the first 24 hours. And one of Tanzania's hottest new models is bringing something special to the runway in an industry that is all about looks. Mickey Deo is bringing attention to a condition that for more than a decade has been robbing his skin of its color. Here's a look.
Mickey Deo is a typical 20-something. He plays basketball and skateboards like other young people in Tanzania. But he's quick to point out his visible difference.
Everyone have unique things. Like me, I have a skin, it is my unique.
Deo's skin began losing color 15 years ago. At first, he was ashamed, but over time, he embraced it.
You know, in Tanzania, there is no anyone like me. So when few people saw me, designers, they chose me because I'm the first one and I'm the only one.
He has a condition called vitiligo, which causes a loss of pigmentation. Model Winnie Harlow helped bring that condition to the mainstream and inspired Deo to push back on the stigma.
Other guys, they have eyes, blue eyes, so we are different. So even it's unique. So if you want to be like someone, you can't because he's unique.
Fellow models say Deo breaks down the construct of conventional beauty.
He actually brought to the industry a different type of uniqueness, a different type of beauty, and which inspires a lot of people out there who don't think that they can make it to the fashion industry.
Deo works on both sides of the camera, but in front of it, he was recently named Tanzania's top male model at the prestigious Swahili Fashion Week in Central Africa. Arash Arabasadi, VOA News, Washington.
Rapper Curtis Jackson, also known as 50 Cent, will make his directorial debut on the cable drama Power as it enters its final season. 50 Cent is also the co-star and creator of the hit show that has been the most watched show for the cable channel Stars. The show also features actors Omari Hardwick and Naturi Norton and has been averaging 10 million viewers per episode in multi-platform viewing. 50 Cent is up as Steve Harvey is down. The comedian's daytime talk show is being cancelled to make way for a new show from American Idol and Grammy Award-winning singer Kelly Clarkson, Harvey, who many people know for announcing the wrong Miss Universe in 2015, will continue to host the popular game show Family Feud. The television drama Empire will return for a final season with or without the controversial actor Jussie Smollett. He is accused of paying two Nigerian brothers to stage a racist and homophobic attack against himself in Chicago last January. The criminal charges against Smollett were dropped, but his character was written off the end of last season. Fox Entertainment CEO Charlie Collier told entertainment reporters that there is an option to include Smollett in the final series, but at this point, we have no plans for that.
Hey, that's it. No, we're switching roles. I'm bad cop, you're good cop.
No, we're not cops.
In my head, I saw that differently.
A team of superheroes almost lost out to a yellow Pokemon at the box office. Avengers Endgame held on to the #1 spot for a third week in a row with $63 million in US ticket sales, narrowly beating Pokemon Detective Pikachu, which opened with $58 million in sales, the best ever start for a movie based on a video game. The latest Marvel blockbuster is holding strong as its global total approached $2.5 billion, second all-time behind Avatar.
You look like a prince on the outside, but I didn't change anything on the inside. Showtime.
No, I'm in charge, okay? I say when it's time.
Really?
I thought a princess could go anywhere.
Not this princess.
Do you trust me?
Disney's live-action remake of Aladdin joins the box office contest next week. The new Genie, Will Smith, says that he was nervous about taking on a role made famous by the late comedic genius Robin Williams.
I was really terrified at first. You know, you have to be careful with these types of films that mark people's childhoods. You know, there is a nostalgia to this film, and Robin Williams really created something that was revolutionary, that actors, we didn't even know we could do that in an animated film, the way he created the Genie. So for me, I wanted to do it in a way that was an homage to Robin, but at the same time finding my new in, and the music, the hip-hop flavor to the music was the way that I found my into creating a new Genie.
Starring alongside Mina Masood as Aladdin and Naomi Scott as Princess Jasmine, Smith says the live-action remake does not disappoint.
The Prince Ali sequence, there's 1,000 extras and dancers in this sequence. There's horses, and it's one of the biggest dance sequences you'll ever see in a movie.
It looks like no one is a bigger Will Smith fan than Brazilian superstar Neymar.
Brother.
Paris Saint-Germain forward met up with the actor in the French capital, Paris, and it was obvious that he was super excited, posting a photo on Instagram alongside the actor. Neymar captioned it, "One of the best days of my life. Nice to see you, my man." At Will Smith, you are the best. The virtual reality documentary Traveling While Black immerses viewers in the so-called Jim Crow era of the 1950s and 60s, when racial segregation was widespread across much of the United States. The film focuses on a landmark Washington, D.C. diner that provided sanctuary for African-American travelers. VOA's Penelope Palu takes us to Ben's Chili Ball.
The Green Book was a guide for African Americans to travel safely, to find shelter, food, and gas in a time when these basic rights were not guaranteed.
In the documentary Traveling While Black, African American patrons at Ben's Chili Bowl reflect on their experiences traveling during the Jim Crow era. One of them is Sandra Butler Truesdale, a native Washingtonian. She relates how blacks had to sit in the back of public buses or the last car of the train and use separate bathrooms, which were rarely available.
The most, I think, difficult thing was the fact that you could not relieve yourself on the train or the bus.
Butler Truesdale remembers coming to Ben's Chili Bowl since she was a girl.
It was a sanctuary. You could meet and talk about politics and talk about legislation and talk about the things that would help as a race.
Traveling While Black executive producer Bonnie Nelson Schwartz says she produced the documentary after staging a theater play on the same topic in Washington 10 years ago. It was called The Green Book. She says audiences reacted viscerally.
And after the play, they began standing up one by one, telling stories about when they traveled in the South during segregation and their families used the Green Book, about not being able to stop anywhere, about being threatened, never having a meal on the trip, always having to pack a picnic lunch and eat by the roadside.
10 years later, her documentary Traveling While Black is receiving international acclaim, which doesn't surprise her.
I think probably immigration is part of that. It's always people who are not of the community moving in. There is a backlash, obviously, in many cities in Europe to immigration. And so there is friction and there is conflict. And what this film hopes to do is begin a conversation.
Sandra Butler Truesdale says the documentary also sparks conversation on race relations in America's streets today.
It's the same thing now with our young black males. We teach them early on how to behave in case they are arrested or in case they are stopped. For the most part, they are trained early on how they should behave.
The virtual reality film immerses the viewer into the intimate discussions black families are having about race while dining at Ben's Chili Bowl, says producer Stéphane Etui.
You forget about the technology, you forget about having a headset on, and you really feel connecting to the place where you are, this new reality.
Traveling While Black deals with the same era as the Academy Award-winning picture Green Book, which was criticized as whitewashing the black traveling experience during the Jim Crow era. Bonnie Nelson Schwartz has a different take.
The Hollywood film is a personal story. I understand there's a lot of anger, that it is not a fair portrait, but it's one man's portrait based on his book. This experience with this film will begin conversations in museums and in communities all over the country.
Penelope Pulu, VOA News, Washington.
In summer tour news, 21 Savage is setting concert dates across the United States to promote his newly minted gold album, I Am Greater Than I Was. He will be touring with DaBaby in 20 shows that open in Oklahoma City and end in Atlanta. And we leave you this week with a Mother's Day present from Sierra, a self-directed video showing behind-the-scenes footage of her wedding to Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson and the birth of their daughter Sienna. Thanks for watching VOA's Red Carpet. I'm Jackson Vunganyi. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye. Welcome to VOA's Red Carpet. I'm Jackson Vunganyi, bringing you the latest in celebrity news in fashion, sports, film, television from around the world. Let's go. Well, if you thought that we were done with award season, you were wrong, because our first story this week is about the upcoming BET Awards.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Blackanda!
The nominations are in, and it was not surprise to many that based on the kind of year that Cardi B had, that she leads the list with 7 nominations, a total of 7 nominations. Now, some of Cardi B's nominations include Video of the Year, Best Female Hip Hop Artist.
I was born to flex, yes. Diamonds on my neck. I like boarding jets, I like more than sex, but nothing in this world that I like more than checks.
And she's followed by Drake with 5.
But it's alright, and you're showing off, but it's alright, it's a short life.
And Beyonce with 4. And when we went into the Best International Act nominees category, that included AKA from South Africa, Aya Nakamura, she's Malian but she's based in France, Burna Boy from Nigeria, obviously no surprise there, Dev from the UK,
bricks like the 118 and iron on indirects,
Dose in France,
que ma vie change. Puis j'ai fini par comprendre que c'était elle qui attendait que je change.
Gigs UK,
and bring a couple of Sharons.
Mr. Easy from Nigeria, London to Nigeria, also no surprise there. Both Burna Boy and Mr. Easy performed at this year's Coachella Festival. If you remember, we covered this story right here on the show Red Carpet. Now we have the nominees for Best New International Act. Heady One from the UK.
If not, I'm in the air trying to catch me a headshot, and I call that a no.
Jock Air from France. Nestle from France. Octavian from the UK. South Africa is represented by Sho Majozi, and Nigeria is represented by Tenny. We'll see who takes home what next month, so be sure to tune in for the recap right here on Red Carpet. Now, it seems that when artists pass away, they aren't really gone, or at least their music isn't, thanks to technology. And Whitney Houston fans can thank the late artist Estate, who has signed a deal with Primary Wave Music Publishing for a number of projects, including a touring hologram and a possible Broadway musical and an album of unreleased tracks. The tour, which will feature her image brought to life, follows the March announcement of the hologram tour for the late rock legends Buddy Holly or Roy Orbison, and for artists like Michael Jackson, whose holographic image appeared during the Billboard Music Awards in 2014. And speaking of the late Michael Jackson, his sister Janet Jackson just began her residency in Sin City. Janet, who recently celebrated her 53rd birthday, debuted her Las Vegas residency Metamorphosis at Park MGM. She told the crowd that she had a history with Las Vegas, reminding them that she had made her singing debut in Las Vegas when she was only 7 years old. It is so amazing how things come full circle, she said. Now, remember when we talked about Halima Aden making Sports Illustrated history by becoming the first Muslim model to be featured in the magazine's famous swimsuit edition wearing a hijab and a bikini? Remember that? Well, following in her footsteps is another Somali entrepreneur and designer, Fatima Hussein. Fatima is the co-founder of Asiya, an active wear company changing the lives of Muslim girls and women by producing culturally appropriate athletic wear. She spoke with VOA's Masha James. Check it out.
And for a Muslim girl, the hijab is the identity of her. Shows you that this is part of who you are. You know, some family will start their girls wear hijab as young as when they start school. When young Muslim girls start playing sports, they didn't have any accessibility of a sport hijab that they felt very comfortable with. I was like, there should be some kind of a solution for this. My name is Fatima Hussein, and I am an advocate for girls and women all around the world. I came to America when I was 6. Home was Somalia. Me and my sister came to America with my mom and dad. We did lost my brother while running away from the war. And then my 2 other brothers were born in America. Respect for me was the biggest thing in our family. They say the most important thing is you start with yourself, and then you can be able to understand why it's important for you to get respected. And giving back. Charity was very important for us too. I played softball, I played basketball. It was like, yeah, we played kickball outside. We played in our school teams. I didn't see no difference between me and a boy. I know I always used to look forward coming home so I can play outside with the boys and everyone else. When I started volunteering, that I saw that what I thought was normal was not normal to the community. So when I started volunteering at the community center, I saw girls were not using the gym. Any girl who went into the gym somehow was notified by her parent. Boys and girls did not used to mix too much. Once I started coaching is when I saw that any girl who became really good at playing the sports, when I went to see her at the school playing, she was not wearing her hijab. My solution was to solve this, to provide the girls, was not for me to take this culture away. We designed a whole gear of a clothes, the jersey, the underpants, and the hijab. We had a big fashion show. When we had that big fashion show, actually, one of the state senators said, Fatima, I can see this idea really move to another level. The company is called ASIA. ASIA is a well-known woman in Islamic history. The girls picked that name because they believe it was something that represent them, fighting injustice, fighting their barriers. They picked the name, they picked the fabric, they did every step with us. That's why we're very unique when it comes to like this grassroots of like ownership. It's a Muslim girl who designing this hijab. So a lot of time people say, Asia, is that you? And I'm like, no, it's not me. The challenge we saw is that it was not easy to pick a fabric. It took us 80 different fabrics to really find the first sport hijab. Another challenge is being made in the USA. I really wanted our sport hijab to be made with love, to make sure that the people who are making are getting paid. And for me, it was more about the social impact that we were gonna create. You know, it's really nice to see that right now we are in over 5 different continents. Girls around the world are having access to this hijab. That means we are really going a good direction. What I really want for myself and my life right now is really to get these hijabs out to more girls, especially at school levels. I believe when girls play in their PE class, that's the moment where they either fall in love with sports or they don't. It makes me really excited that this movement of limiting barriers for girls to play in sports is going to get much smaller.
The iconic TV series Game of Thrones has come to an end with the long-awaited question, who would sit on the Iron Throne? Warning, spoilers ahead. The 2 obvious contenders to the throne, Daenerys Targaryen and Jon Snow, both fell short of claiming the title of ruler of the 7 kingdoms. Instead, Jon kills his beloved in the name of duty and is forced into exile. The throne is destroyed and Brandon Stark, the 3-eyed Raven, is chosen to rule Westeros. The series, which first aired in 2011, was based on George R.R. Martin's best-selling book, a series, A Song of Ice and Fire. The final season was met with criticism from fans who felt that the series left many unanswered questions and unexplained storylines. Is there a new Batman in town? According to multiple reports, former Twilight actor Robert Pattinson is in talks to replace Ben Affleck in the film The Batman by Warner Bros. If he takes on this role, Pattinson becomes the second youngest actor to ever play Batman on the big screen after Christian Bale, who was 31 when Batman Begins debuted in 2005. Fans can look out for the film scheduled to hit theaters in June of 2021.
Will you be wanting the back putt, sir?
In the middle of the day, Alfred? Not very subtle.
The Lamborghini, then. Much more subtle.
And from one upcoming new release to another, there is a new FX drama series, Mrs. America, coming to TV, and we have news on who you can expect as the cast. Nigerian-American actress Uzo Aduba, well known for her role on Orange is the New Black, will join stars including Cate Blanchett and Sarah Paulson for the 9-episode series focusing on efforts to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, ERA, and the opposition led by conservative activist Phyllis Schlafly, played by Blanchett. Aduba will play Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman to serve in Congress and the first black woman in the United States to run for a major party's presidential nomination. The series is slated to premiere in 2020. The Cannes International Film Festival is underway, and actress Eva Longoria says that there has been some progress towards gender equity, despite the outcry surrounding controversial actor Alain Delon receiving an honorary Palme d'Or award.
So do you think Cannes is doing enough to kind of embrace like gender parity at the moment?
Well, I think it's in the right direction. You know, having the gender equity for the first time in submissions is really great. You know, they've really made an effort with the jury also being balanced, but we definitely have to keep that up and keep it going.
And also Alain Delon getting an award today. Obviously, he's made some controversial comments. I mean, do you think?
Yeah, I understand how people can be upset about that. I definitely understand that.
Protests have taken place on the red carpet against the 83-year-old French actor who admitted to slapping women in the past. On the other hand, supporters of Delon's honor argue that the award recognizes his acting career and does not comment on his personal life or politics. Meanwhile, Pedro Almodovar's return to Cannes proved a delightful affair, with the director and cast of Pain and Glory earning a 15-minute standing ovation following its premiere. Starring Antonio Banderas and Penelope Cruz, the film is an emotional and personal story about the life of a director in decline. Banderas said that he appreciated the audience response to the movie, but that it was also an embarrassment.
There was a moment that it was really embarrassing. I was just indicating my colleagues to leave. I said to them, can we leave now? And they were saying, why? Look what is happening. The whole theater is standing up and applauding. Yeah, but we should leave now that the applause is up, no? Like the Beatles. We should go away when, you know, when they are still in the top of the hill.
Now, though not a biography, Banderas says that Pain and Glory is just as if not more honest than a conventional biopic.
You know, the movie is filled with all of those things that he would have loved to say, he never said. The things that he would have loved to do and he never did. It's just pretty much about that. And it's about reconciliation and even about forgiveness. It's just closing the circles that he was leaving behind in his life open.
And as we end our show, here is a clip from the final music video that the late rapper Nipsey Hussle filmed just days before he was gunned down in Los Angeles, titled Higher. The track is included on DJ Khaled's new album, Father of Asahd, named after his 2-year son, and features Nipsey and John Legend. The very title of the song reminds us that vibrating on a higher level was the essence of Nipsey's soul, tweeted DJ Khaled when sharing the story behind the video's release.
We keep going higher.
And thanks for watching VOA's Red Carpet. I'm your host, Jackson Vunganyi. Have a great weekend, everyone.